We're here with Rick Bone, president of Bone Asset Management, and Rick's going to answer some of the most common questions that he gets about dealing with his firm. Hi, Rick. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
So usually the first thing on people's minds are, what are the fees? What are the costs? What are you going to charge me if I deal with you? So could you go into that a little bit?
For sure. So let me make it very clear that we are not a non-for-profit organization. We are like most businesses. We are in business to make a reasonable profit. That being said, I believe that fees are only an issue in the absence of value. We get paid in a couple of different ways depending on what you believe is best suitable for you. Now, if we end up using or hiring an insurance company to help us, we get paid directly from them. In other words, every dollar you invest, day one, goes to work for you. Now, what we get paid differs greatly based on your needs and what we decide is best to help reach your retirement goals. But what we get paid will be disclosed to you before any decision is ever made. The second way we get paid is what's called an advisory fee. You see, we're a fiduciary, and if you hire one of our private wealth managers, we get a fee based on the amount of assets you have invested with us. This fee starts at 1.25% per year and goes down with the amount of money you have invested with us. Either way, all fees will be completely disclosed before any decisions are ever made.
The next question, Rick, is how are you different, or what are people going to get by dealing with you that's different than what they're currently doing?
That's a really good question, and I am a retirement income planner. And in English, what that means is I work really hard to ensure that our clients never run out of income in retirement.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. So our philosophy is that at this stage of your life, losses will hurt you more than gains will help you. You see, most advisors out there specialize in what's called wealth accumulation. In other words, they did what it took to get you to a point where you're ready to retire. But when you make the paradigm shift into wealth preservation, we now are able to protect and preserve the income those assets will generate for the rest of your life.
Can you tell us the process if someone comes in for a strategy session, and also how much does it cost?
Yeah, great question. So the process is a three-part process, but there's absolutely no fee for the strategy session process unless you decide to hire us to implement some of your personal retirement plan. That being said, the three-part process goes like this. The first step is about a 10-minute phone call with my assistant, Carl. At that time, you will determine if there is a need or a want to proceed. If you proceed to the second step, you will actually come into our offices with a data form that we supply you, and we will spend however long it takes reviewing your personal financial situation, but more importantly, your retirement goals. The third step would be us delivering a personal retirement plan to you based on your goals, the income for life plan based on your assets, your needs, your wants, your desires, and third, our investment strategies needed to implement your personal plan.
Rick, you talk about the income gap and an income cliff. Can you go into that a little bit?
Sure. As people enter this new phase of their life, I love entering new terms into their vocabulary. Now, most of us have heard of the income gap, and simply put, it's the gap between the income you're making now as a fully employed worker to the income you're going to receive in retirement. But when we put together our Income for Life report, we uncover what the income gap is going to be, and then we help solve for that income gap using some or part of your assets. The income cliff is completely different. The income cliff is what happens to your income when you or your spouse pass away. Now, with our practice, the income goes down by 43%, essentially overnight. Now, we all know that it's less expensive to have one person in the household versus two, but I think we could all agree as well that expenses don't go down by 43% overnight. Now, this is only an issue when it comes as a surprise or it's not uncovered in the retirement planning process. We not only solve initially for any income gap that might be out there, but we also uncover any income cliff and help solve for that as well.
Thanks for spending some time with us today, Rick, and answering some of the common questions. In closing, how would you define your practice and what's your investment philosophy?
Well, my philosophy, as I've already stated, is that at this stage of your life, losses will hurt you more than gains will help you. And what we do to accomplish that is we take what's called a balanced approach. Now, this is not the typical balanced approach that most people think about, a balance between stocks and bonds in their investment portfolio. No, that's not it at all. What we do is build a balanced approach using investments that offer risk and investments that offer nothing but safety, based on our strategy sessions going over your individual retirement goals.